A new era of fantasy tabletop role-playing games is here with launch of DC20. It is a new tabletop role-playing game. I've talked about it multiple times before, and the official launch of the alpha is right now. It is live, literally right now as I posted this video. DC20 is here, and I say a new era, and I know that maybe it would be a big statement, but I believe in this game system so much. I truly think it's going to shake up the game and change how things are go. It is epic. It is big. It is based on teamwork. It's customizable. It's fluid. It's easy to pick up. It's been described from people who have play tested, not myself, as intuitive, efficient, simple, clean, and fun. There's been multiple people, some of the feedback that stands out say that usually I don't like combat, but I had a blast of combat in DC20. Combat is faster. Combat is more collaborative and team building. How many times when we play Dungeons and Dragons are you playing in combat, but you're all individually going and you never truly like interact with each other? So there's just so much to this. So what I'm going to talk about this, I'm talking about some super special things going on right now with this being live. I'm going to do a flyby of the rules just to talk about kind of some of the things. I've done tons of different videos on the rules as far as talking about them and what kind of things make you DC20 unique and stand alone, and in big ways and small ways. I'm going to talk about that, and then at the end of the video I'm going to talk about some secret stuff that you're going to stay for the people that really care about it. So we'll see if you stick around for that. So the first cool thing, and is talking about feedback of some playtesters, is this right here. From Will from D&D Shorts. I played with Will at Gen Con, and he said, "Hey man, just wanted to say, I still find myself thinking about DC20 a lot. I think you're really onto something special with this one." And he goes on to say, "Let me know whenever it launches and stuff." But first of all, Will was he played a barbarian, and he was a master barbarian. It feels like he played the game multiple times, which is impossible because this was in the Gen Con early play tests. But it stuck with him. He messaged me out of nowhere. I didn't message him at all. He just was like, "Dude, I've been thinking about DC20." And it's different. It hits different. It feels different. It's electric at the table, whether you're in combat or not. There's systems in and out of combat. And someone else was so blown away that this is the first time I'm announcing this in a video. I did a live stream with this guy, but Duke from One Shot Questers, one of the largest D&D entities in the space, was so blown away. I did a private playtest just for him and his crew who do live plays over on their channel. They have a bunch of different channels. But him and his crew, I did some a playtest with, and it was insane. That session was wild. They were wild. They nailed it. It was so much fun to see what they did with it. I could go into it. We actually, in the live stream, I'll link in the bottom of this video, there's a whole section of just epic moments from them that they happened. And they wanted to take it on. After they ended, Duke was like, this game's insane. I want to take it. I want to take it on. I want to take up the mantle of DC20. And that's insane for Duke, someone this size in D&D, to want to do that is awesome. I know they're still going to be making a ton of stuff on the channel for D&D, but just the fact that they even want to do anything involving DC20 is insane, and just shows some things about this movement that's coming. And all of this has been possible thanks to the patrons that made this possible. There's no way I could come in here, clock in for my entire day sometimes, and just make DC20 and be able to have my team be able to come in and review DC20, help with the polishing things off and brainstorming stuff. There's no way it'd be possible without support on Patreon. So patron supporters, thank you for getting this to the spot where it's at for the alpha launch. The alpha is live right now. How you get your hands on it, we'll talk about more later, but there's going to be two methods to get your hands on it. One is just quick and simple on the website. Two is a patron support, which is a bit more involved, and you're involved with the feedback, and you get choices on with the direction of where things go and what things come out next and updates and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm going to do a quick flyby of the rules just to talk about, and there's also other videos out there as well on this, but basically in DC20 you have a 4 action point system instead of action, bonus action, reaction, all that stuff. You have 4 action points, super clean and efficient, where you can spend action points to do stuff. It's very, very clean. Certain things cost more action points. Spells cost 2 action points. Some spells could cost more to do even more. And just, it's such there's one resource of action points, and there's reactions you can take, but your reactions spend your action points. And if you take multiple reactions on different things, you have less action points when your turn comes around. Super simple and super dynamic. And it stays engaging because you could you could build a character that has multiple different reaction opportunities, to where you could purposely build a character that takes actions off their turn, then their turn comes up and they don't have any. And at the end of your turn, you get them all back to do it again, rinse and repeat. And you can build characters like this quickly, dynamically reacting stuff. Players at the table are more engaged because at any moment this certain thing could happen, or they could do this or that, and interact with each other and combo in some certain ways to be able to, not just check out once your turn comes back around. Also, combat happens quicker and faster because you don't roll for damage in DC20. You have a base amount of damage, and if every 5 that you beat the enemy's defense by, you add extra damage. So the damage still is dynamic and scales based on class features and how high you roll that D20. That is the key. How high you roll that D20 actually matters. If you roll an 18 to hit, you don't really care in D&D because you probably hit anyway, just as if you had a roll a 12 or whatever the creature's armor class is, right? But if you roll high, it matters because everything builds up and adds together. If you help your allies, it matters because them adding dice rolls together, you're just going to actually build up to one bigger number that actually matters. So that's all connected. But in the big picture of the whole, there's 4 attributes of might, agility, intelligence, and charisma. Much more clean way to do that. They separate into physical attributes, might and agility, mental attributes, intelligence and charisma, for some very nice symmetry there. The game is very symmetrical as well. Spellcasters, marshals, mental, physical. Across the board, there's a bunch of little similarities like that. There's a concept of a prime attribute, which lets you be able to build a character in the way that you want, and you can build an intelligence-based paladin that's very smart, and they've learned and studied the books of being able to kind of, that's how they on the battlefield, are smart tactical moves with their sword, and you're able to make that intelligence-based paladin and not just be a troll because, I need strength for a sword and constitution for health and charisma for my spells and all that kind of stuff, right? You can truly make more customized characters at the foundational level in that way. Skills across the board are going to be very familiar to Pathfinder and D&D, and that was the goal. An original design goal of this was I wanted to make a game that was very similar to 5th edition because that was what I knew and loved. I had some really cool inspirations from Pathfinder, but I was like, all right, cool. My initial design, similar to something like Tales of the Valiant, Project Black Flag, they're like, all right, we're going to make a 5th edition, something really close to it. And that's exactly what they've done. And that was one of my goals as well. But as I started making this game, there's solutions to core problems of what I feel like are core foundational problems to the D&D rule set that can be improved upon. And every time I see them, it's evolved and diverged into its own thing now. It still has that sense of familiarity that you'll feel whenever you play it, but it's just going to be a bit more epic and dynamic and customizable. But that's up for you to decide. Checks and saves will feel very familiar and fluid. Dynamic attack saves are when you roll an attack and they make a saving throw at the same time to speed up combat in that way as well. Instead of I roll to attack and then if I attack, you roll a strength save and then if you fail, then you fall prone. Oh no, you make an attack, they make a save, and you're going for it, and you either hit or miss, and they either fall or don't, and it's live, it's fast, baby, let's go. And then crits always matter because the number on the dice matters, right? And crits add on top of that as well. Natural 1s and natural 20s have huge impacts across the game. By 5s, like I've said with damage, by 5s above, by 5s below adds, so your roll always matters. Defense is separated into physical and mental defense. Death's Door, there's a whole mechanic at Death's Door where if you reach a certain if you get to -3 hit points, your character's dead. So you got to stay up. And between 0 and that -3, in that little pocket, it's called Death's Door, you only have 1 action point, and you're able to actually role play that moment right before you die and be able to try and do what you can with a limited amount of, and then -3 points. You're dead, which makes healing matter. And being at 1 hit point in D&D isn't scary at all because you can get hit really hard and, I'm unconscious now, but I just absorbed the rest of that damage, which then makes healing invalid and do this whole whack-a-mole thing. So there's core principles here that I feel like are just fixed. Marshals have a resource called stamina that's a dynamic resource that they gain and lose during combat, while spellcasters have mana instead of spell slots, and they have a mana point system to be able to spend on that. Super so balanced across there. Spellcasters have spells that cast really big things. They have cantrips for free. Marshals have maneuvers that they can perform and make interesting attacks and spend action points to boost their attacks in unique ways. But they also have techniques that they can spend stamina on to do very huge feats of strength, of knocking people back, jumping across gaps, and all these big epic stuff. You can defend your allies as a marshal to be able to defend those around you and truly play a tank type character where you can't in some other things. Spells, you can pour more mana into spells to customize them in different ways. You can increase the radius of a fireball, increase the range, you can increase the damage, you can catch things on fire. The spells have different unique components. The light cantrip is usually a very simple cantrip and it's just very meh, but the light cantrip, even as a cantrip, you can pour mana into the light cantrip and it can send out a flash bang for a blinding effect on targets that are within a small area, right? You get the idea. And spells can evolve and grow in that way as well. So Fire Bolt evolves into Scorching Ray if you spend more mana into it. Evolves into Firestorm if you spend even more mana into it. And spells turn into bigger versions of the spells, so it's a little more fluid in that way as well. Also, you can cast spells together. If two players know the same spell, a wizard and sorcerer can cast the same spell together if they know the same spell. Initiative works out more dynamic and interesting. I'm going to do a whole video on that soon. Character creation is super fluid and dynamic as far as being able to mix and match. You can steal things from other classes. If you are this main class, you get talents sprinkled across your leveling journey, and you can take those talents and spend them on other classes' features of lower level. So at level 2, you can spend a talent to go get a level 1 class feature from other classes. And that's how multiclassing works. And it's super fun and interesting, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with as far as characters go. So there's the quick overview of the rules. How do you get the game system? I have 2 ways for you to be able to pick up DC20. There originally was just going to be for patrons, and they were going to be patrons to support for do some heavy play testing and alpha feedback and all that kind of stuff. But I got so much interest from other influencers and other content creators, like I've talked about, other communities, other people that just they don't necessarily want to join that type of thing, and they're interested but not that interested. So I wanted to have or maybe don't have the amount of funds available right now. Things are tight right now for everyone, and I totally get that. So I have 2 methods to be able to pick up DC20. The super hyped, super interested, oh my god, I can't wait method is to join on Patreon. There's a higher tier on Patreon. At the bronze dragon tier and above, you get access to the alpha, everything released from it, and it's also all future stuff, updates of things live. As soon as it's ready, you get it. You get a feedback stuff. You're going to be able to give the direction and steer some feedback of the game as far as where it goes, what's released. You're going to get all the stuff, early access to everything. The second method is if you're interested, but you really you want to play, you're interested in it, but maybe not that much. There is available on the website. Down in the description of this video and maybe every other video I ever make, in the description will be the link to the DC20 alpha. This alpha will get updated, and there will be new classes added to it, new subclasses, new ancestry features to be able to customize your character even further, more spells and other things that are going to be released during the alpha. And if you get the website, if you buy the PDF through the website and log in and do all the stuff like that and sign up with the email and all those things, I can send free copies of the updates to those people as well. So you back it, you get all the alpha, and alpha will go all the way up until we reach the spot where the Kickstarter is going to launch for the beta, and then that's when the alpha updates will stop. But the alpha updates will keep coming until we get to that spot, which is when the Kickstarter comes in. And right now in the description of this video is the sign up link for the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is not live by any means right now, but you can get notified for when the Kickstarter does launch, and the more emphasis and hype that we can generate towards that. And as soon as it does launch, who knows what this thing can explode into, and I can't wait to see what you guys think and where this goes, because it's all entirely based on you guys, which is honestly one of the most fun things. Is how well this does, it depends on y'all and how much you like it and get behind it and all that kind of stuff. So get notified on Kickstarter. That's completely free. The website, it's available down in the description. And if you want to truly support on Patreon, even at this entry lower level tiers on Patreon, that is how this is possible. How I've been able to do anything is 100% only possible through the support on Patreon. So thank you so much to all my patrons. Every single one of you guys have made this possible, and I would not be able to this game would not exist if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you for that as well. And now for the secret. I also can't wait for other D&D YouTubers, other Pathfinder YouTubers, other TTRPG YouTubers to make videos on DC20. I have a lot of people that have been talking to me about that and interest being shown, and I'm working in as big of a collaborative way as possible and being as interactive and helpful and symbiotic with other influencers. I want to create a community of influencers that y'all can enjoy and see videos from them as well, and all share together, instead of some of the things of how other companies have treated influencers recently. But can't wait to see all those things. And now the secret link at the very, very bottom of this video, at the very, very bottom, is a full video explaining all the rules. It's a little bit longer of a video, but I go through literally each of the rules and get from the creator's perspective, give the rules out and kind of talk about the whole thing. You can use it for session zeros. If your group is playing D&D right now and you're watching this video or you've been up to date and you're like, man, you know what? I think, I wonder if my group would like this. You could send them that video and it would be a little bit of a teaser intro trailer across the big picture of the game. It is a little bit longer, so maybe you want to bullet point that, and I'll try and make another video here soon of just like a rapid fire, kind of like I just did just now, to kind of get people a little taste of what DC20 is all about. But that video is down in the description there. You can check that out and send it as a little pre-session zero to people. Let's see if they're interested in playing. And the only other thing you can do is I have a mailing letter on my website, DC20.com or thedungeoncoach.com. You can sign up for the newsletter, and I'm going to be sending out stuff on the newsletter as well, on updates and other things like that with involving DC20 or other things. And it's just going to be a crazy, crazy time. And I cannot wait to see where this goes. I truly believe in this with my heart and soul, and I've put my heart and soul into this game to get it to the spot where it's at currently, and I can't wait to keep it pushing and going from there. So you guys are awesome, and we've always been staying creative and thinking outside the box, but I think we're gonna break the box on this one, and we're going way outside the box. Peace.